What is up, everybody? Welcome to the transparency. Appreciate you being here. Cheers. Sorry about the calves. That's all right. Thank you, though. What's good? Hello, 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 hello. Got my hands on some dope shit. Thought I would share it. So, good evening. What's up, Jen? Hello to all the mods. Karen Reed was sick today. Got some work done. You know, they'll be back, I think, tomorrow, but got to look at some stuff, got to go over some Kohlberger shit. So I'm ready to bring it. Now, my day was good off of trial, I guess. Wasn't expecting it. What we have here, gonna zoom in. Ashley Guillard's motion for access to non-disclosed records. This is what Hippler struck from the record, and your girl got a copy of it. So, you guys want to see it? It's pretty good. It's pretty interesting. When I say, so she's pro se. So she wrote this all by her lonesome. Okay. So here we go. Comes now, Ashley. Pro se litigant in a related case, civil case, Schofield versus Guillard, United States District Court for the District Court of Idaho, and member of the public, and respectfully moves this court for access to the records in the case of the state of Idaho versus Brian Kohlberger, referred to as the state's case. Several of the non-disclosed records in the state's case provide evidence that substantiates Guillard's affirmative defense of absolute truth in the aforementioned civil case for defamation. However, the records in the state's case are withheld from the public due to maybe better. Oh boy, that's probably worse. Hold on. Hold on. There we go. Perfect. There we go. Due to the non-dissemination order, without access to the records, Guillard's ability to provide evidentiary proof of her statements are limited, causing impediment to due process for Ashley. Okay. So, synopsis of the background. I want to know all about this. Okay. This is going to get good. It's going to get wild. This is fucking wild. Okay. Using her claircognizant abilities, investigative skills, and tools, Guillard hypothesized the details of the murder of the 4 University of Idaho students found dead on November 13, 2022 in Moscow, Idaho. Beginning November 22nd, 2022, Guillard posted several videos on social media revealing what she hypothesized was the killer's motives, identifying characteristics of the killers and the events that led up to the death of the students. Ashley also emailed her tips to the Federal Bureau of Investigation. During Ashley's claircognizant investigation, also known as psychic investigation, she discerned that number one, Rebecca Schofield, we'll be moving forward calling her Schofield, a professor at the University of Idaho, ordered a hit on the students to hide a romantic affair that she had with one of the female victims, Kaylee Gonzalez. Number two, KG's ex-boyfriend, Jack DeCore, was hired to kill the students. Number three, the evening of the murder, Schofield hired someone else to ensure the hit was executed because it was taking longer than expected. 4, the last-minute hitman, later discerned to be Brian Kohberger, was rejected by the original hitman because he did not want to relinquish control nor share the expected financial compensation. Where's our girl Ashley? Yo, what the fuck? Tina, this is Tina's What the Fuck Translation Services. What the fuck, Ashley? Okay. So she's saying that Kohberger left without executing the crimes. Schofield and Jack DeCore would set Kohberger up to take the fall for the crimes. 7, specific activities of the victims and surviving roommates that occurred the evening of the murders. December 21st, 2022. This would have been after Brian Kohberger's, name was known to the authorities. Schofield sued Ashley Guillard for defamation. She sued her in December. Holy shit, I didn't know it was that soon. So Rebecca Schofield sues Ashley Guillard for defamation of character after failed quote-unquote cease and desist attempts. Guillard contends that the information she discerned using her claircognizant abilities are substantially true. Her defense against defamation includes truth and privilege. This went to Ann Taylor and her team, by the way. Ann Taylor got this. Kohberger was arrested for burglary and 4 counts of murder in the first degree for the murders of the 4 Idaho students on December 30th, 2022. Schofield and her attorney, Wendy Olson, began making false statements about Guillard in Idaho District Court, the news media, and social media, publishing false statements that 1, Guillard made false statements knowing they were false. 2, that Guillard made intentional false statements about the murder of the 4 students for money and clout. 3, that Ashley Guillard intended to profit from the death of the 4 students for financial gain. And 4, alluded that Guillard is mentally ill with fantastical thoughts. And 5, thought we were done there at 4. And 5, psychic abilities are implausible. This is the shit that Bloom should have wrote. Where's that, Mark B? What's up, baby? Okay. Now, whoa. Okay. Schofield and attorney Wendy continued making those false statements to date. They continue to make the false statements. The federal district court, under the tutelage of the chief U.S. magistrate, Judge Raymond, also deemed her abilities basically implausible, using the implausibility of psychic abilities and esoteric tools as a deciding factor in the court's decision on the case. On June 6, 2024, the U.S. District Court granted the plaintiff's amended motion for partial summary judgment and the plaintiff's motion for leave to amend the complaint to add punitive damages. The partial summary judgment was granted due to Guillard's inability to produce evidence despite the evidence being in the custody of the state of Idaho. Oh, I see where she's going with this. You guys catching on? And non-disclosed. Now, before the U.S. District Court is the defendant's 60B2 motion for reconsideration, partial summary judgment based on newly received evidence. So some of that newly received evidence is that allegedly Schofield had access to a white Honda Elantra the night of the murders. That's from my sources. My sources told me that. So standard. Pursuant to Public Records Act, Idaho statute, I'm not going to read it all. I know really, really well what that means, the public requests. Mr. Kohlberger, the non-dissemination order supposedly protects Mr. Kohlberger's right to a fair trial, exempting the record from public disclosure pursuant to that Idaho's Public Record Act. However, the sealing of the record impedes upon Ms. Guillard's right to a fair trial because the sealed records support her findings, support her truth, her defense of truth in the federal civil case for defamation. Guillard's requesting the case manager in the state's criminal case for access to the sealed records by email. Can you believe that? Woo. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. The records, that email was ignored. The record is being improperly withheld from Guillard pursuant to, I think she has a say because holy shit, Dateline got it. Give it to her. Give it to her. Give it to her. So again, this is just more of the statute. I'm not going to read, but here's her argument. This is what Ashley is demanding. Lana, tequila time? Oh, no, it's not tequila. No. Promise. I don't like tequila. It's sake. Number one, AT&T phone records for Mr. Kohlberger. It's not Fireball. You guys check this out. This is where it gets wild. She is saying that AT&T phone records for Mr. Kohlberger, Guillard hypothesized that Mr. Kohlberger was called to 1122 King Road, Moscow, Idaho, on a whim as a Plan B option to ensure that the murders of the students were executed and to offer guidance and assistance. The state's evidence, AT&T phone records for Mr. Kohlberger, offers evidence that supports Guillard's affirmative defense of substantial truth. It connects the person who ordered the hit on the students to the homicides. Guillard believes that this person to be Rebecca Schofield. Dude, this is the sly way to get these records, though, right? I said, Ashley, if you need some help writing that up, let me know, girl. Let's get them records, baby. This is great. Number two, she wants to discover financial records for Kaylee Gonzalez because guess what? Oh, and her T-Mobile. Because Ashley hypothesized that the victim, Kaylee Gonzalez, had a romantic relationship with a history professor, Rebecca Schofield. The state's evidence, 33 pages of that discover financial record for Kaylee Gonzalez, as well as some Alon financial records, and the phone records offer evidence that supports Guillard's affirmative defense of truth. It connects Rebecca Schofield to the victim, Kaylee Gonzalez. I don't know how the Discover records would. Maybe it's because they were buying each other stuff. This is a pretty creative way to get some records, right? Now, next up, Jack DeCour's interview. So she wants to interview with law enforcement and his phone records. Guillard hypothesized that Kaylee Gonzalez and Jack DeCour, their relationship ended, that Schofield hired JD to commit the murders a few weeks prior to the homicides, and that JD and Schofield planned the murders together, that JD lived near Kaylee. JD informed Schofield that Kaylee was back in town, and JD spent time with the victims and the dog Murphy the evening of the murders. The state's evidence, Jack DeCour interview with law enforcement, and DeCour's phone records offer evidence that supports Gilliard's affirmative defense of truth. Now, number 4, surviving roommate Dylan Morton sent text messages. We want the extraction, the 911 call, and interview with law enforcement. We the people. Ashley Guillard. Guillard hypothesized that the surviving roommates heard commotion before the homicides. There was an unexpected visitor. The roommates saw Xana crying and offered to help her. That the roommates heard everything the evening of the homicides and knew what was occurring. Took a risk to come together to avoid being alone. Were afraid and hid to protect themselves. Didn't call 911 immediately because they were complicit to avoid getting themselves in legal trouble, and waited a while before they were rescued by friends. Additionally, Guillard hypothesized that Kohlberger came to the scene of the crime to ensure the execution of the murders, but did not commit any of the murders. The state's evidence, DM text messages, the extraction, the 911 call, and DM law enforcement interviews, and BF interview with law enforcement officers, is evidence that supports Gilliard's affirmative defense of truth. Next up, statement of Peace Officer Brett Payne with the County of Latah. Whoa. Guillard hypothesized that Xana and Ethan were found deceased in the same room, but were killed separately. Madison and Kaylee Gonzalez were killed simultaneously and in the same room. The state's evidence statement from Brett Payne and the crime scene photos provides evidence that supports Gilliard's affirmative defense of truth. Number 6, Numerica Bank records for Kaylee Gonzalez. It's a hard drive, AV258, AV828, and AV849. Guillard hypothesized that victim Kaylee Gonzalez had a romantic relationship with a history professor, Rebecca Schofield. The financial records offer evidence that supports Gilliard's affirmative defense of substantial truth. It connects Rebecca Schofield to the victim, Kaylee Gonzalez. Number 7. Well, Ashley says, I need the autopsy reports provided by Spokane County Medical Examiner of the 4 students. TikTok user records for Xana, T. Guillard hypothesized that Kaylee was the target, that Ethan was attacked twice, first in a hand-to-hand fight, and a second time taken off guard with a knife, that Ethan did not immediately succumb to injuries, that Kaylee Gonzalez and Maddie Mogan were attacked together, and that Xana was attacked last. The state's evidence, autopsy reports provided by the Spokane County Medical Examiner provides support for Gilliard's hypothesis and affirmative defense of truth. Number 8, DNA evidence, DNA evidence, handrail, evidence report, Kohlberger's white Elantra. Guillard hypothesized that although Mr. Kohlberger entered the home, he did not commit the murders, and that Jack DeCour committed the murders. The coroner reported defensive wounds on some of the victims. The state's DNA evidence under fingernails and the blood on the handrail provides support for Guillard's hypothesis and affirmative defense of truth. It likely connects the victims to the murderer. The state's evidence regarding Kohlberger's vehicle provides support for Guillard's hypothesis and affirmative defense of truth. It shows that there is no DNA evidence in his vehicle linking Mr. Kohlberger to the victims. The state's evidence selfie of Mr. Kohlberger also provides support of a lack of wounds on Mr. Kohlberger. Number 9. Abandoned white Elantra found in Oregon. Holy shit. Guillard hypothesized that Rebecca Schofield had access to a white Elantra the evening of the homicides, that it connects her to the murders, is in someone else's name, and is abandoned. Rebecca claims to have been in Oregon the night of the murders. The state of Idaho has unreleased evidence of an abandoned white Elantra found in Oregon. The alleged owner of the vehicle has not been made public. The state's evidence regarding the abandoned white Elantra found in Oregon provides support for Guillard's affirmative defense of truth. It interconnects Schofield to the crime scene. Can you believe when Ann Taylor and her team were reading this shit? They were probably like, wait, what the fuck is all this? Okay, due process issues. The state's evidence in the criminal case provides support for Guillard's affirmative defense of truth. The state's evidence also proves Guillard's clear cognizance and esoteric tools are plausible. Therefore, the state of Idaho is withholding records that proves Guillard, 1, did not defame anyone, and 2, is a viable witness, and 3, is a viable resource of information for true justice in the quadruple homicide case. Are you fucking serious right now? Ashley, did I hear that correct? You a witness, girl? I just think she got creative to get some records. Withholding Guillard from having access to the evidence creates a due process issue for Miss Ashley Guillard, because exculpatory evidence that generally should be public record is being withheld from the public and Guillard, causing her to endure an unfair civil trial. Not to mention, as a viable witness or resource to the state. Fuck it. She is a fucking witness to the state. Guillard is protected by law from the intimidation tactics used by Schofield and her attorneys. This Idaho Code 18-2604 bars people from willfully intimidating and obstructing a witness in civil and criminal cases. There's the code. Okay. This is the rest of the codes. Additionally, I'm not going to read the codes. I know you guys can fuck less. You guys know what intimidating is, right? Despite it being a defamation case, the U.S. District Court for the District of Idaho has required Guillard to play quote-unquote criminal prosecutor to prove Schofield executed a murder for hire. You're making me play criminal prosecutor here, and because you are withholding I need my evidence. My evidence is being sealed at the moment. Like, can we please, can I get a stay? I'm asking the courts. That's what Ashley should be asking for, is a stay. And so the criminal proceeding has come to has been adjudicated. Once the criminal proceeding is adjudicated, then I can get my motherfucking evidence to show and defend myself. I'd be asking for a stay. I'd be staying the case. So, where were we? Okay. Oh, did I skip? Okay, I gotta go here. Additionally, some of the state's evidence that has been revealed in recent dockets already prove that Guillard's statements regarding the events that occurred the evening of the homicides are true. For example, DM text message extraction, DM interview with law enforcement, as stated on the probable cause affidavit, and the 911 call transcript prove that Guillard's hypothesis about the surviving roommates, location of the victims' bodies, location of the roommates throughout the night, and the location of the dog Murphy is accurate. That qualifies Guillard as a reliable source of information worthy of privilege. God, Ashley, I gotta love you, man. Just going for the jugular. Now this is the part where I was saying this portion, which is, despite it being a defamation case, so I said that. The U.S. District Court required Guillard to prove Schofield's connection to the murder. So wait, I want to read this then again. Okay. So despite it being a defamation case, the United States District Court for the District of Idaho has required Guillard to play criminal prosecutor to prove Schofield executed a murder for hire. Except Guillard does not have the infrastructure of a state prosecutor nor the authority to gather evidence to develop a criminal case. The U.S. District Court required Guillard to prove Schofield's connection to the murder of the 4 students, instead of simply proving she did not defame Schofield by making an intentional false statement. Therefore, it is a legal necessity for Guillard to access the state's evidence to adequately prepare for her civil trial, for due process, to investigate, and uncover relevant information to address specific claims, and to present evidence that proves her case. This is for real. Ann Taylor is reading this as I'm reading this. This was struck from the record. This was sent to fucking Hippler. Judge Hippler, I'll show you what he said about it. Now, the conclusions are very, very simple here. The state should provide access to the public information in the case of the state of Idaho versus Brian Kober, case number blah, 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 to foster democracy, promote transparency, that is right, and ensure accountability. More specifically, the state should provide access to the public information in the case that has been sealed or non-disseminated to Ms. Guillard to ensure adequate due process in her civil case. It is also extremely important to protect the due process of Mr. Kohlberger. Therefore, if public access to public records creates a due process issue for Mr. Kohlberger, Ms. Guillard's access and use of the state's evidence can be under seal and in confidence. Basically, she wants a protective order. Grant this to me, I'll give it a protective order. That's what she wants. The court should grant Ms. Guillard's access to the requested sealed records now. Now. Or at most appropriate date that does not negatively impact Mr. Kohlberger's due process. Whew! That was a lot, right? Well, let's see what... Look at you guys. When I say who was sent shit, Ann Taylor, Latah County prosecuting attorney, Masseth, and Jeffrey Nye. Everybody was sent this. Then, so this reaches the docket. And then this is what you guys get. This is what you get if you only look at the docket, because it's all sealed. That was struck from the record. Okay, it was struck. But as you can see, I want everybody to see that it most certainly was electronically filed for, boom. This was filed on the 6th of May. Okay. So Hippler read it and Taylor read it. All right. Hippler says, order striking improperly filed records request. Here is what Hippler said. This is what you can see on the docket. On May 6, 2025, a third party filed a motion for access to non-disclosed records in this case. Because she is not a party to this case, she is not authorized to file pleadings herein, and the motion is hereby stricken from the record. The proper approach is to file a public records request as directed on the Ada County website. So, everything, go to the Ada County website, put in your records request. I asked for Brian's Google extraction. I asked for his phone, Cellbrite, locations. I asked for all of Ann Taylor's briefs. I asked for the original IGG hearing that was sealed with Judge for the back in Latah. What else? I can't remember. There's a plethora of shit. So yeah, this was filed. Pro se defendant here. And I was like, that's a pretty creative way to get some records. Don't have to file a motion to have a Lana party. Again, good evening, guys. Just wanted to share that with you guys. Thank you so much, 49er Girl, becoming a member now for 16 months. War Damn Eagle, a member now for a day. Ooh. Let's see. I think the defense has a case for a mistrial or change of venue because of Dateline's coverage. Why would they do that? It's already been moved here. But let's talk about this. Let's talk about this tip. It's been sealed. It's been sealed. What is going to be the jury instructions on this tip? I don't know why they would seal that. I don't know why they would seal that. I thought things weren't supposed to be sealed. All right, so let's take a look. If you guys go to playlists that I've made over the years, you can go and click on, it's the, if you go to it's my old one, but it's the University of Idaho's, there's 198 videos. Let's see if I can pull them up. Okay, good. And if you click on there's a date. Who are these sources on Dateline? So I went back to May 21st, 2023. There was a Dateline that I reviewed. think this was this one. I did a live with Scott Roeder as well. So let me see if this is the one I want to show though. Okay, yep.
Coming and going from that residence.
So since they were home, was it a hostage situation? Did
no one to look into.
For an unconscious person, and also that was a stabbing. It seems, just from an outside perspective looking in, like that would be not the first thing a person calling in would think.
You're right. But the report that we got was that it was an unconscious individual. It new caregiving check on the individual who was unconscious that we found the scene that we found.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
On what she asked, so
All the information we have from our investigation is that yes, they were.
okay, but they were unhurt.
That is correct.
So is there any explanation on, and the 911 call didn't come until noon?
I don't think I ever said that they were witnesses. I said they were there. So, you know, yes, but that's not how it took place. So that's why we're investigating everything still to try to pull all the pieces together.
Were they one of the people, were they the 911 caller?
At this point in time, I'm not going to divulge who our 911 caller is, just because I want to keep the integrity of the investigation at this point. Okay.
Okay. And last question.
All right, let's see if this works.
We begin with breaking news out of North Idaho.
Just a moment ago, Moscow police confirmed 4 people were found dead in a home.
Xana Kernodle, Ethan Chapin, Madison Mogan, so Bailey Gonzalez. They shared everything. They came here together. They eventually get into the same apartment together. And in the end, they died together.
We know that the other, let me get the names exactly right here. We know that Xana and Ethan were at a different party on
On
campus.
September 12th, there was a vandal alert that was sent out about a potential stabbing threat on Paradise Path. Does this have any connection with what we've seen so far?
Not that we know of it, but we're following there.
Roommates who lived in that residence. Were the roommates home at the time of the attack?
There was other people home at that time, but we're not just focusing just on them. We're focusing on everybody that may be coming and going from that residence.
So since they were home, was it a hostage situation? And then did
No, it was not.
they didn't call it into police? And then did injured? They didn't call it into police. So were they injured?
No one that we're not going to talk to. There's no one we're not going to interview. There's no one that we're not going to look into. And we're going to do our due diligence. We're going to make sure that nothing goes unturned.
I know you said when the call came in, it was for an unconscious person, and also that was a stabbing. It seems, just from an outside perspective looking in, like that would be not the first thing a person calling in would think.
You're right. But the report that we got was that it was an unconscious individual. It wasn't until our officers arrived on scene, went in to do caregiving check on the individual who was unconscious, that we found the scene that we found.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, Heather Roberts with ABC News. Just to follow up on what she asked. So the other 2 roommates were there at the time of the attack?
All the information that we have from our investigation is that yes, they were.
Okay, but they were unhurt.
That is correct.
So is there any explanation as to why it took so long then for someone to call 911? You have surviving witnesses to an incident at 3 or 4 in the morning, and the 911 call didn't come until noon?
I don't think I ever said that they were witnesses. I said they were there. So, we don't know why that call came in at noon and not in the middle of the night. Would have we loved for that to have happened? Yes, but that's not how it took place. So that's why we're investigating everything still, to try to pull all the pieces together.
Were they one of the people, were they the 911 caller?
At this point in time, I'm not going to divulge who our 911 caller is, just because I want to keep the integrity of the investigation at this point. Okay.
Okay. And last question.
Right. given Dateline. Law enforcement giving themselves a Dateline. Revealing the 911 call would jeopardize the integrity. Stabbing was originally used, which is confirmed in this dialogue between Fry and the inside reporter, as Fry does not correct her. Instead, he actually says, "You are correct." And then Fry tries to explain that it was a sequence of events, which was a report of an unconscious person that led to the discovery of the scene. So, who started the rumor that would be spilled by Christy Gonzalez? My niece called around 1:30 and said that it talked to Kaylee. Something bad had happened to Kaylee. There was a play last night.
My niece called me and she was freaking out and she said, "Christy, have you talked to Kaylee?" And I said, "Yesterday, like last night." And she said, "Something bad. Something bad."
The Gonzalez family says they want to do anything they can to help the investigation, but believe investigators could be missing the mark.
Imagine if you're a parent and you have pertinent information to this, like that dog, and you're asking me to just shut up. It's not going to happen. I'm going to find a microphone and I'm going to talk to it and I'm going to tell people this is important. Whether it helps solve the case or not, how can you eat that? How could you suppress that? It's something you know could help your child and help everyone in that house find justice. But you can't force them to ask you the question.
Christy Gonzalez speaks about what she believes happened in the early morning hours of November 13th.
And went in very methodical. I think he really thought it out. I think he was quick. I think it was quiet. And he got in and he got in.
Or how he got out, which direction he came from, or how he escaped. There are only so many scenarios, and tonight we're going to give you an exclusive look. First, our senior national correspondent, Brian Enton, retracing the route that the killer would have to have taken if he drove that night to 1122 King Road.
You can see houses on both sides of the street again. There's media out here now, but again, normally the neighbors tell me there's a lot of people walking around, not necessarily a lot of cars. If you look to the right here, this is the house where the murders happened.
We are not going to go to bed and wait for other people to resolve a family problem. This is a family problem. And
This isn't just
both those girls are our girls, and we are not, I'm not handing over. I thought about it. I thought, like, here, just take care of my family and make sure that you find the right guy. And I eventually got to a point where I said, you know what? My family, we're all G's. We call ourselves G's because nobody can pronounce her name. We are not going to sit here and let somebody else do a job that we can't add value to.
And you guys have added value. I mean,
Yes.
you, Olivia, found the Twitch video that actually solidified the timeline.
We watched the Ring video that showed them pulling up, and we're like, "That's them. It's 1:56. That's what time they got home." And there's the car leaving, and yeah.
So we're working.
And I had my phone. Kaylee's phone is my phone, so we saw all the calls that she had made, and we with an exact time. And
I reached out to every person she called. I had them send screenshots of the communications that had happened on that day, of texts with my sister, of the call with my sister. How long was your phone conversation with her? Just to do whatever I could in those first few hours, because unfortunately, by the time we even found out, they've been gone for more than 12 hours.
What America needs to know, we have a moment in time to make an impact, do our due diligence, listen to what people are saying, write down deep, like notes, and you can be a part of solving it and work on it. Anyone who thinks that one officer or one department can do this alone for people, they're crazy.
Yeah.
This takes the whole community. This takes all of us to solve. We We can't put this on one man, one officer, one police person, one deputy, one sheriff. We have to all come together and say, you know what, this is on us. Are we gonna let these people exist and go undetected? Or are we all gonna come together and say, this is enough. We are gonna stomp this guy out of our community. And I'm telling you right now, we're coming for you.
Yeah.
You're going to get stomped out.
Yeah, I feel like America is being.
Built.
Explain all the things that they did.
Yeah, they Ubered out together. They only went to known locations that they had been before.
Private driver.
They had a private driver. Yeah, I apologize. It was a private driver that they had actually used before, so they knew him. They had a relationship with this
We know him
individual.
as a family member, and he really helped us.
Yeah.
He turned us on to the food truck stuff.
Yeah.
He's a great person.
Good people. And then we only went to like known locations with known people, traveled only together on well-lit, known streets to get food before taking a private ride from the same individual who would pick them up home to go eat after a night of drinking, being 21, Ubering out, Ubering home with your friend,
Totally shut
and then
down.
going to
Everything was-
bed.
And we're doing everything the way that you tell your kid to go. You
Yeah.
know, you don't be two girls all by yourself. Have somebody there that can walk with you. Everything was perfect. Everything was good.
Yeah.
All the way up to where they went to bed and went to sleep.
Yeah.
And that I can't control. As a family, we can't control what happens when you go to sleep.
Yeah.
When you go to sleep, that's us as society. We have to determine, are we gonna let these people be out here that can do whatever they did, sneak into a house, whatever it was? Are we gonna allow that to be? Are we gonna allow that to be okay?
Yeah.
Because we all go to bed at night.
Yeah, what was their flaw? They didn't have a nanny cam in their home? What could they have done to be more
They
safe?
locked the door perfectly.
Yeah. No, it's Moscow, Idaho. It's safe.
I wonder about the door because Kaylee was a door locker. She would come
totally
here,
was.
and so I question that all the time. Like, why wasn't the door? Why wasn't the door locked?
That's not what society's built on. You don't say, oh, well, you didn't lock the door, so you deserve to die in your sleep. You don't do that. We have to make a society where these people show red flags, we identify them, we address them, and then we remove them from our community.
The phone call the Gonzalez family received on November 13th is one they'll never forget.
We were, it was Sunday around
We were watching football.
1-ish, and we were
Like
watching
every
football.
family, or a lot of families on Sunday.
And
We were watching
our
football.
son was here. Everybody.
Or not, but knew at 8:30, and there was a narrative discovered and built, and two people who were really important to the case I don't think they did it. I think they thought it was a shakedown. I do not think any student did it.
Right.
But I think that they all know
nobody told you
far
that,
more
right? That's
than they're
something that when it comes to the shakedown stuff,
Well, I know
that's
that
not
he-
something that your daughter
Well,
told you that she
shakedown
thought it was a
stuff. Oh
shakedown.
no, that I was told. No, I was told that.
You were told what? How? When were you told that?
It was a drug house that they were there, the creeper was there, and there were people there.
Okay,
and
well, hold
to buy
on,
drugs.
hold on. Who told you this? And when was this told?
My child told me this. This was in the beginning. That
And
there
she
were
was told by the student from University of Idaho?
the student's girlfriend from University of Idaho.
Okay, so where did she get that information from?
My daughter told me is that she got it from the high-five.
Oh, she got it from the sorority.
Yeah, she got it from the sorority. That's what she told me. At the time.
1, 2, 3, 4, almost as though they're walking in single file out at night at 3 o'clock in the morning, actually closer to 3:12 in the morning. And as you watch those four figures, remember, police say the murders happened between 3 and 4 in the morning. Did those people see something? Who are they? Have police tracked them down, asked them any questions, ruled them out? And again, if they're ruled out, did they see something as they were on foot, walking just steps away from where the murders happened? We do not have the answers to this, any of it. But as usual, our senior national correspondent, Brian Enton, is live on the case. And tonight he is standing in that exact location, right where that body cam action took place. So Brian, for us looking at it on television, it's hard to get the exact perspective of where the officers were standing, what direction their body cams were pointing, and where those four mysterious figures were walking from and to, and how far away they were from the actual murder scene. So can you take me there and help us get a feel?
Yeah, it's very confusing when you're looking at the body camera video. So hopefully we can give you some perspective. This is Band Field. This is where the alcohol call came in. The young men were here in the field when the police first showed up. That is the Sigma Chi fraternity house right there. So the police walked those young men across the street. This is Taylor Avenue, right to this spot right here. I was able to identify it because of the fire extinguisher. And they were standing in this spot, the young men, and the body camera video was pointing.
You wake up in the morning on November 13th. Can you just describe your day?
So I don't remember like exactly when I woke up. I just remember like waking up and opening up my Snapchat, and there were dozens of Snapchat messages in all the group chats. And I just remember like, oh, this is kind of whack. And then like I got up and I was like getting ready for work. And then like when I kind of like woken up a little bit more, I started to go through them because I did not want to have to read a lot of shit early in the morning. And then yeah, I ended up like I was just sitting there scrolling through it, and then yeah, opened up the messages, and then there it was. It was like, holy shit, did you guys hear about what happened? Like, blah, 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 blah. And I'm scrolling up, and there's just, I mean, lines and lines and lines of text. Everyone's talking about it. Everyone's awake. I mean, and this is before 9:30 on a Sunday. And I remember that because I had to go to work, and I ended up not going because I wanted to be with my brothers, right? Kind of obvious. Mm-hmm. But yeah, and like I don't remember what exact time I woke up, but I remember like, yeah, we were all talking about it. We all knew about it. And like my boss, my coworkers were texting me later, you know, asking me like if everything was okay. And they had even heard about things. They heard like it was a shooting and stuff like that. So, and yeah, it was kind of weird because like at the beginning, everyone said like, at the beginning, like the very, very first messages where people were talking about the stabbings, or like a stabbing had occurred. And then it changed to an OD, and it was just kind of weird. Like looking back on it, it changed to an OD so quickly, and like nobody questioned it, and like we didn't question it either because we knew there were drugs in that house, and like just genuinely thought like, okay, they got a bad batch, and that's just what happened, right? Because you see it on the news, it happens in major cities.
So you said you had to go to work, and you said you had to be to work at 9:30. So this would have happened before, like you got to work.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this was definitely, and it was like a, like, I don't know, 5-10 minute drive to work, and like I had to like get ready too. So you're talking like well before 9 o'clock in the morning at least.
Hi, Heather Roberts with ABC News. Just to follow up on what she asked. So the other two roommates were there at the time of the attack?
All the information that we have from our investigation is that yes, they were.
Okay, but they were unhurt.
That is correct.
So is there any explanation as to why it took so long then for someone to call 911? You have surviving witnesses to an incident at 3 or 4 in the morning, and the 911 call didn't come until noon?
I don't think I ever said that they were witnesses. I said they were there. So, you know, we don't know why that call came in at noon and not in the middle of the night. Would have we loved for that to have happened? Yes, but that's not how it took place. So
a big break in the case, a grainy image of a speeding car that could be the white Hyundai Elantra police are looking for. A night manager at this gas station in Moscow, Idaho, discovered surveillance video that showed a white sedan driving by on the night the 4 University of Idaho students were murdered. The timestamp says 3:45 a.m., right in the time frame in which police say the killings took place. The video has been handed over to police. It shows the car traveling on this road outside the gas station. It's just 1.2 miles from the house where the students were murdered.
Who's out at 3:45 a.m. speeding
And this is significant, Harris. Very
Very
significant.
significant.
In a town.
Significant, Harris. My favorite part. All right, so back up to the first timeline insert. This was, when did I make this? I had to be 2.5 years ago. I just scanned the area so you guys could see the footage that they showed you guys from that clip from Nancy Grace. That was exactly right at the core. All right, so 6:30 over. These were all the old school, like there was a substance control problem at 11:13. Now check this out. The one that was at, then there was a narcotics 9 search, 11:33, but they put them in opposite order for some reason. But remember, this was supposed to be a quiet morning. This seemed like anything but quiet to me. So that if you look at the number 9902, the controlled substance problem, and then you look at the next, so they're out of order. So the officer requested the case at 11:13 a.m. Case number of this controlled substance problem report taken. Then you would look at the order. And so it's out of order. See, 9901 comes, like that number comes before 9902, but look at it comes after 11:33. And so I was like, what the fuck? These reports are out of order. Look, where is E and D Street? What an odd time to put in 11:33. I know. But back over there is where, so I went ahead and looked at what was on the corner of D Street and then where Main Street is. Main Street's also part of Highway 95. Main Street is 95. So what's over there? The reason I did this is because if in fact they were moving stuff, getting stuff out of the King Road house before they called 911, because they didn't want to get in trouble for beer or drugs or whatever, you'd have to move it somewhere, you know? But I thought it was weird that right before literally 911 was called in a weird way. When I say right before, you have 11:13 and then you have 11:33 and then you have the 11:54, 56 call. And the 2 calls leading up to the 911 call were for drugs. But they said it was a slow, quiet morning in Moscow that day. Well, I wouldn't consider 2 drug calls before the 911 call slow. But I've been trying to get these reports since December of 2000. As far as the canine search and this suspicious substance activity. And lo and behold, you have Dutch Bros Coffee and D Street. That's Main Street, D Street. That's what you're looking at. So at 11:13, again, the reports are out of order.
Not normal.
11:13 and 11:33. In Bloom's article, it was a quiet Sunday morning. Well, I would say that having a canine search just 20 minutes before your 911 call isn't a quiet morning. Who ordered the canine? How does that happen? What's the procedure?
Then you go.
This is just showing you the area.
So I'll go forward like right to this point. Because like how would the brewery was over there too. So D Street and Main Street. I don't know if she ever worked at that specific one, but that was a coffee shop. It's also right behind there's Ethan took their formal date to the Friday night before, allegedly possibly where someone worked and busted tables. Remember the Venmo coffee?
Again, the significance of this is it was a very quiet Sunday morning in Moscow before the 911 call came in.
I called that.
How? 9:30 a.m. Dave doesn't go to work because of all of the snap messages about what happened at 1122 King. In the PCA, Brian's phone pings off of the Moscow, Idaho cell tower at 9:12. Did Brian receive the same info as Dave? What was going on at 1122 King Road between 9 a.m. and 11:58 a.m.? What does that Ring camera show between those hours?
Boom. How come nobody's talking about the Ring camera? I want to see the footage from 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning until 911's called. I want to see the activity. I want to see what time friends are coming over, or if anybody's leaving, or what the noise you can hear on the audio. Yeah. Okay.
So the only people that can know about the 1122 King Road murders hours before the 911 call and not call it in and not be cleared within hours are the sorority and frats on the University of Idaho campus. But if anyone else hears about it and possibly shows up in the area, they are a suspect.
That's illogical.
Body cam footage from 3:32 a.m. on 11/13/2022 is finally surfaced. I requested this in December 29th of 2022 and just received it.
May 31st.
These were the two officers from Banfield.
Up here in the right-hand corner, 3:31 and 32 seconds. 3:31. Okay, so now hang tight. So up there in the right-hand corner is where you can see the timestamp. It says 3:31 a.m. and 39 seconds. And they're entering into the area of the apartments. And that's saying that the body cams are accurate. So there's that timestamp. If you know, you know.
So after the Banfield incident of writing up underage drinking, then here at 3:31,
On the side of the road? Okay, you supposed to take that? Probably not. Probably not. Where did you find it from? On the side of the road, like over yonder. Okay, where's over yonder?
Are you talking up by Sunset Mart? Up the hill by the gas station?
Yeah.
Okay. Why did you think it was a good idea to take a city-owned sign and take it back to, I'm assuming, your apartment?
Yeah, it was like falling on the side of the fucking road. Let's go ahead and just sit down for right now, okay? You want it? I'll just sit with it right now. Okay.
What?
You got ID on you? I do. You got from there? And you got ID?
I also don't, and I literally just was meeting him halfway. I wasn't.
Okay, just so we know, the Banfield was cleared at 3:21, 3:17. And so they had from 3:17 until 3:31. And when you want to talk about the vehicles at 3:26 and 3:27 over there in Indian Hill Trails, there is enough time for it to be seen, this car to be seen over there, and then be over here by 3:31, as you can tell. So that's why I'm pointing this out. Again, the Indian Trails Hill, whatever street over there. 3:26, 3:27. That's the time that's over there. Remember, the car that's on Ridge Road at that intersection at 3:28, we call bullshit. This times up perfectly for this vehicle to be the Indian Hills or Indian Trails Drive car.
I was there. I met him like halfway there. So.
What was your goal? What was your end game?
These guys are supposed to be undercover for narcotics and drinking. Okay, so hold on, I want to go right where it ends here, so I can give you guys a timestamp. $3:37 and 23 seconds, and then let's see, yeah, 3:37.
Should have somebody who took a sign. And
3:27 or 3:37.
Maybe I will on the time. Somebody everything that they can.
That's when it stopped.
What do you think? He said he was out drinking. This buddy was out drinking somewhere else. He walked back. He's been playing video games this whole time. He's sticking with the story that he had no idea this guy had a sign, or that he knew the guy had a sign, but he was very blatant about the fact that once he got there, he saw his friend had a sign, didn't think anything more of it, and was like, okay. So, maybe anything with him? Him? Yeah. I mean, like, what's it, petty theft? Yeah, for that guy. If you're going to charge him, I mean, complicity or what's the term they use over here?
What's the term they use over here?
See, he's not.
I don't know.
Rick Rosie's just not never there. Now,
me.
When you say that,
Just gonna bring back. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And what's your relation to this situation?
No, I'm roots. I just went to go walk and meet him because he said he was coming back. So I was like, I'll go meet up with him.
Okay. Did you say I had a sign with him?
When I got there, yeah.
All right. Let me get your info, my man.
No, I get it.
This buddy was out drinking.
look at these guys.
I was trying to get a good angle of the car. And then they have a huddle about it.
And somewhere else. He walked back. He's been playing video games this whole time. He's sticking with the story that he had no idea.
Sticking with what story though? Like, is there? Watch that video. You're gonna see when like they were corner club.
That'd be a good idea. Just take city property, take it back to your apartment, store it inside.
Just gonna bring back. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And what's your relation to this situation?
No, I'm roots. I just went to go walk and meet him because he said he was coming back. So I was like, I'll go meet up with him.
Okay. Did you say I had a sign with him?
When I got there, yeah.
All right. Let me get your info, my man. What's your last name?
Villa, Villa.
First name?
Hayden. Hayden.
Look at it. Watch this question right here.
Middle initial?
D.
I wasn't trying to do anything.
What happened to your head?
I was.
This? Oh, dude, weeks ago.
Oh, really?
Oh, dude, I swear to God, that was 3 weeks ago. Story of my life.
You're good. Date of birth?
Yep.
What happened to your head? What happened to your head? Oh, dude, that was like 3 weeks ago.
2001.
Oh, so you are 21.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm 21. I wasn't.
You have a driver's license?
Not on me, dude.
But what, in general, you have a driver's license?
Yeah.
What state's it through?
Idaho.
Idaho. Okay.
3 weeks. 3 weeks ago.
You didn't ask him when it happened. You asked what happened to his head. The answer is
No, I literally just, he told me to come back. I went and met up with him, just walking back because I like to walk around at night. Like,
but you knew
He likes to walk around at night.
He likes to walk around at night.
What? He likes to walk around at night.
Everybody in Idaho likes to do things at night.
Decide with him.
21. Once I got there, yeah. And I got there, I was like, what the fuck? And he's like, oh, I just grabbed this. Like, okay, I'm not gonna argue with it. Like,
you were okay with that?
Not okay with it, but I'm not gonna be like, yo, like.
Are you okay with that? I'm not his dad. Like, what do you want me to do? He's like, are you okay? Were you okay with that? Was I okay with what? Him carrying a sign? I don't know if he wants to be an idiot. Like, you guys clearly caught him. Like, he wants to charge him for being an accomplice. I'm over here like, when I watch this video, okay?
He wants to charge him for being an accomplice.
I said, what? We have like, this is just
bushy eyebrows for days.
Is this for real? This is what's going on, you guys. Well, you know,
they say
like,
You didn't say no to it, though.
Yeah, but like, what do you want me to do? Like, you think I'm gonna be like, oh, if I could go put that back?
He
Like,
didn't know I had it until he saw me there.
But once he saw you with it, he had no issue with you. You had no issue with him taking city property?
dude, I didn't think, dude, if you think I thought that much of it, I didn't think that much into it. I literally would just went and met up with the kid.
I mean, whether it's a sign, whether it's, speed limit sign, mile poster sign.
No, I get that.
It's not yours. It costs money and you're taking it from somebody else. In this case, the city of Moscow.
I didn't touch it. I didn't even think about the fact that he touched it. I literally just said, what is that? And he just goes, oh, I just grabbed it. I was like, okay. I was like, that's not my deal.
Okay. Do you live here?
I'm right there with him. I am right there with him. I feel you, buddy. I would be like, what did I do about this? I met the kid because he said he was walking back. Okay. So I met him.
He wanted
and we met where we met. Like, okay, I'll start walking. Like, this is their story at least. And he's walking back with this sign, this sign, and he didn't do anything. And
are you his roommate or anything?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, man. Check tight. Moscow 77, check one.
Let's just check it.
Last of Via, Victor Ida, Lincoln Adam. First of Hayden, Henry.
No, I get it. You gotta look at me like that. I get why you get I get the whole whole deal. I just
okay. How much you guys had to drink tonight?
Me personally, I went to the bar.
How much have you had to drink tonight? What? I have nothing more to say to you. The fuck? What do you mean? How much have I had to drink tonight? How much have you fucking had to drink tonight?
Came back here. I've been back here for a couple hours. I haven't even drink for a while.
Okay, I've been back here for a couple hours. All right, it's 3:36, and we saw him on, and yeah, like one. What time was he there? Yeah, been a couple hours.
Copy. Okay. I can smell the alcohol in you, and I'm assuming he's been drinking as well.
What?
I would imagine. I was at a different bar.
Okay.
But
where were you at?
I was at Corner Club for a while. I went to Mingles and then came back here.
Okay. Sounds good.
But no, I got back.
I thought it was interesting that he said, I went to Mingles, Corner Club, and then I came back here. He doesn't mention that he went to the grub truck, I'd be throwing in that I went to the grub truck. I got food. Like, unless it's a bad thing to say that you go there,
Back a while ago, I was playing video games, and he's like, "Oh, I'm coming back." So I was like, "I'll go meet up with him." I have not drank since I got back to the apartment.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, since he was the one with the sign.
yeah, I don't think anything is sus about this kid at all. I mean, yeah, he looks like he got clobbered. But yeah, he has the same clothes on. Like there's
no blood.
It's nothing, you know. That's not what this is about. What this is about is what are these officers doing?
They're supposed to be undercover for this task force for drinking and drugs, and they drive by and stop a guy carrying a sign and spend this much time doing it, and then go through all of this to then just drop the charges literally days later. And it took me 6 months to get this video.
So a kid had a sign, because this is what the kicker is on it. You go through all of this and then you don't prosecute. You give that guy, and I don't think that he should have been prosecuted. He's about to go be a teacher, and he's going to teach students. Okay. He's in secondary education, and God bless his heart. Like, we need more males to be doing that. Like, I think that's great. So kudos to the guy. But you're doing all of this to then write up a citation that you don't go forward with. And I don't know, they just didn't show up the 2 times. But at the end of the day, this gets dismissed. This gets dismissed. Nothing happens to that misdemeanor citation. It's dismissed. So you do all of this to then dismiss it. Okay. And it's like, you need to be out doing what it is, I guess, that you're supposed to be doing. Like, they were walking. They were walking, not driving, not drinking and driving, walking. I don't think either one of them seem impaired. They're not falling over. They're answering all of your questions. And here he went to grill this kid over who didn't even touch the sign and had nothing to do with the sign. Like, and you're like, well, you could charge him for accomplice after the fact. For a sign that's on. Now you got to go and look and see.
Okay, this is what we're dealing with, though. This is what they do. Okay, quadruple homicide ain't what they do. Ridiculous. What a waste.
Where they took it. But all the while, if you're talking about that, did any one of these kids while they were walking see the white Elantra?
Yeah.
Because that's where they were. That's where this white Elantra was. It was over there, 345.
Yep. It's exactly where they were, and that's exactly where they say the white Elantra was. So you'd be asking these motherfuckers what they saw. Did you see a car going 90 miles an hour? Because that white Elantra was going 90 miles an hour in order to be the white Elantra.
They see it before, just because they caught it that one time. Maybe it was, over there beforehand. Did they see a white Elantra? Did these cops see a white Elantra? Because you guys, they leave right from this. These cops leave right from this, right before the 345 where it's seen. And go back and take a look at that. They're in this hybrid, whatever car.
They're in this hybrid.
And see what Officer Tesdall wants to do.
This is what they're doing. And this is...
Yeah.
Overtake the sign.
When you say they're okay. What do you say?
He said he was out drinking. This buddy was out drinking somewhere else. He walked back. He's been
Right there. Take a look at the car.
Haven't been eating a drink for a while.
Copy. Okay. I can smell the alcohol in you, and I'm assuming he's been drinking as well.
I would imagine. I was at a different bar.
Okay. Where were you at?
I was at Corner Club for a while. Went to Mingles, and then came back here.
Okay. Sounds good.
The thing that's suspicious is why you're doing all. If you're the cops, why you're like, move on to the next thing. Like, no wonder why you're not getting to certain things. Is like, you're taking all this time to do what?
To do what?
Like, it's a sign. Oh, that's theft. Then actually do something about it. Then prosecute. You did all of this not to prosecute.
What a waste.
That to me doesn't make sense.
Ashley.
You want kids to stop doing shit, what, taking signs like this? Well, the only way that you can get people to stop doing things is when there's actually a consequence. So you go through all of this and not do anything. So no, this is not about the suspicious activity of either one of these two college kids, in my opinion.
The only person seems like they're doing anything with Lana is somebody that doesn't want to be here and is commenting. That's what I would say about that, buddy.
The suspicious part that I have a question with is that you're going ham over a sign that then you don't do anything with, though. You don't prosecute. So why would you do all of this? Like, move on to the next thing. Go see where else you can help.
But no, I got back a while ago. I was playing video games, and he's like, "Oh, I'm coming back." So I was like, "I'll go meet up with him." I have not drank since I got back to the apartment.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, since he was the one with the sign, and see what Officer Tesdall wants to do. Yeah. Me?
Can you say that?
It's gonna get a little stop here.
What are you there?
Huddle up.
Oh shit.
So you thought it'd be a good idea to just take city property, take it back to your apartment, store it inside?
Just gonna bring back. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And what's your relation to this buddy without drinking?
Right there.
I get it.
Right there.
I was trying to get
This buddy without drinking.
Oh, right there.
wanted the dash cam because I wanted area if
No,
we could see.
They refused me the dash cam. That's their thing. They refused me the dash cam on this vehicle, and so because I wanted to see where they were truly coming from. They refused me the dash cam. Not sure, maybe the guy didn't put on his dash cam, but I didn't get the dash cam, so I wasn't too happy about that.
There was no seeing something early, and that's where that's if there's dash cam and it's
really.
Let's see. There's that vehicle, right?
Why would anybody think that he's right? I'll be pulling him over. He's
Sticking with the story that he had no idea.
sticking with what story though? Like, is there something else going on?
Okay. So, yeah, I got one more, and then I'm off. Last thing I want to show. No way. Okay, here we go. Dateline sources. This is from May 21st, 2023. Oops.
With the whole.
Oh, I must have been the other one I did. Fuck.
I'm guilty.
Hold on.
So Keith did a great.
That's not the right one. Sorry. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy. Oh boy. This is it's pretty lit up now. It's pretty lit up. Remember, she couldn't remember if the lights were on.
Was numb. On the other hand, I just was numb.
You expected him to be a bigger monster and a more intimidating.
I mean, I'm like, this is the guy?
Yeah.
On the other hand, I just was numb.
You expected him to be a bigger monster and a more intimidating.
I mean, I'm like, this is the guy?
Yeah.
This is the guy that murdered our daughter.
Are you going to be okay with continuing these court hearings? Are you going to show up at all of these court hearings? This is a lot. It's a lot to process. Before this, you were just parents of a, couple of really great kids and living the American dream. And now there's this new normal in your life.
I think we'll lean on the prosecutor to tell us if the information is going to be to a level. Like I've already told them what I'm comfortable with hearing about the family house. I don't want to hear any of the gory details. So there'll be certain days that we're there and certain days that we check out,
We have a Shannon that will keep us in tune with that as well. And we have other family members that will be going on some of those harder days. They feel that they can be there because we know it's a long road, but and it's a drive for us. But we'll do it every day if we have to. We just don't want to do the bad details.
There's there on the screen. There are pictures of Kaylee as you're talking, and I'm always struck by how much she looks like you. Absolutely stunning.
You.
Just such a beautiful girl. Indeed.
And like mom's girl.
She looks like you, Steve. She's got some of you too. I just wanted to get a sense from you about justice. What is it? What does it look like for you? I mean, you're just starting this process.
For me, it's going to look a lot like an end. I mean, justice doesn't have a room where you can read books and you can go to school and you can have 3 meals and you can have your vegan diet. To me, that's not justice. Justice is when you leave the planet and the whole world is able to rejoice and be glad that you are not there. That's justice, and we will forgive him. We will. We're not going to have that heavy weight on us. We will forgive this individual, and but he has to pay for what he's done. And it's not just our daughter; it's all the victims he needs to pay justice to. And that's all I can say about it.
Yeah, Chrissy, it's always a shock to face the person who's alleged to have committed these horrendous acts and changed your lives forever. If you could say something to this person, what would you say?
I just, I wouldn't want to give him too much. But I mean, I would tell him that, he destroyed our lives in an aspect. Does he realize what he has taken from us, from these 4 families? I mean, Ethan was a triplet. Maddie was an only child. Xana had siblings. Kaylee was one of 5. She was the middle child. She had 2 older siblings, 2 younger siblings. Just the immense loss. I mean, did he really think? I mean, he did really think about it, which makes it really hard. But why?
And I would add to that if you were looking for cruel girls that were bullies to you through your life when you were struggling, you picked the wrong girls. My girls have been through a lot, and they weren't the ones to pick on somebody that because they were overweight or they were struggling, and people weren't. They were actually the ones to stick up for you. So yeah, you picked the wrong person if you were looking for vengeance on some people that were mean to you in your life, and you picked the wrong community. And we're gonna have to hold you accountable for that mistake.
Speaking of that accountability, has the prosecution or anybody from the prosecutor's office discussed the option of a death penalty? Because victims' families are consulted typically throughout the process, and this is an option on the table in the state of Idaho.
We've talked with them. We've had multiple meetings. I think they probably want to do it, all the families together, before they just approach one. That would make the most sense. But we've had meetings, but we have not crossed that actual
question.
Yeah, I mean, they couldn't even disclose just until recently that they were this close. They kind of said that, hey, give us some time. We think we have the right person. We're going to get this. But we couldn't go from that to death penalty or those type of details.
Do you both have a feeling as to how you would respond to that question once the prosecutors put it to you?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we know.
We're glad that we live in Idaho.
Definitely.
I'm assuming that you are in favor of the death penalty for this defendant.
If our daughters could switch places with him, and I'm saying Maddie is my daughter, we'd do it in a heartbeat. If they could sit there and have 3 squares, a place to live, and we could call them, we could write them letters, they could watch TV, they could get educated.
I would love if Maddie and Kaylee were doing life in prison right now.
Yeah, so
at least we could talk to them.
That's not.
They'd be breathing.
A punishment equivalent to being killed. That's God's role. And if you want to play God's role, then you're gonna have to go answer to him.
Do you know if the Mogan family feels the same way? I know you all are very close with the Mogans.
We have not talked to them about that. I was going to call her last night, and I did not. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but I have a feeling that that they will, but I can't say that for sure.
They're very
I want to
forgiving
ask,
family.
it's incredible to hear the words forgiveness out of your mouth, Steve. It floors me. It's extraordinarily magnanimous. You're a very strong family if you're able to be there today, especially on day one of this process, seeing him for the first time. I would love to ask your attorney, Shannon Gray, if I can. Shannon, was there anything in the affidavit you didn't already know about? Are there things that you know more about than the public knows now?
Well, I think there were a lot of things in the affidavit that we had no idea about. The DNA, the sheath, we had suspected some things. The identification, I think we had suspected, but there were a lot of things that.
The identification. We suspected. DNA, sheath, nope. The identification.
And Shannon, was there anything in the affidavit you didn't already know about? Are there things that you know more about than the public knows now?
Well, I think there were a lot of things in the affidavit that we had no idea about. The DNA and the sheath, we had suspected some things. The identification, I think we had suspected. But there were a lot of things that, there was quite a bit of information in that affidavit. I was actually surprised there was so much information in the affidavit. But, it looks like it's a solid case. And, I kind of look at the case in 2 different ways. As a former prosecutor, I look at it as a prosecution case, and it looks like a solid case. And then I flip the hat and I say, okay, as a criminal defense attorney, how would I look at it? And I still have a hard time with the evidence that's been mentioned in the affidavit. And that's not the entire case. There'll be additional circumstantial evidence that'll be provided that will make more connections, hopefully, with the defendant in the case. And like they've always said, it's not just a arrest, it's a conviction. So we're hoping that that's the case.
Steve and Christy, when we covered the tragedy that befell Gabby Petito, her father, Joe Petito, said that there were some lessons that he learned very early in the process, and that was to pay particular attention to your other kids because they are going through an immeasurable trauma. Have you had a chance to navigate this with your other kids, with Kaylee's siblings, and have you charted a course forward?
Yes, we have. Our 2 are adults and they are grown, and we have talked to them, and they know, they can reach out to grief counseling and whatnot. And we are very open, and we talk a lot about it. We cry a lot about it, and that's not always enough. But our 2 younger children, right now, we are kind of letting them do their own grieving for a little while longer before we start some grief counseling with the church. They have some great people for us to reach out to, and we plan on reaching out to them. I've been talking to the pastor on a daily basis, and he has some really good, they go through grief counseling that himself as the pastor, and he has a team like for teens and whatnot, and he feels that they are like the best, and I trust him. He's a great man, and he's got us through a lot here lately, and we feel that we just don't want to throw it on them, because right now they're like, no, we don't need that, but I don't see how they cannot not need that. You know, they're young, and they're heartbroken, and they're confused.
Yeah, this is their friend and sister.
Yeah.
And,
So,
and with
unfortunately,
Maddie as well, right?
Yes.
I would assume that Kaylee's siblings were very close with Maddie as well. This is a tremendous amount of burden to try to process for them.
Yeah,
Maddie was very kind and had been a sister to them for so long that it was just, we took for granted that she was there and that she would always be there. So yeah, it hits everybody a little bit different, and you have certain memories that you tie to certain individuals. So it's my girls miss them both, and my son is torn. You know, it's something we're gonna have to work together. We're not very good at this kind of stuff, but we're gonna have to figure it out.
Yeah, we're not.
Okay, since in the university, that yes, phones started going off at 9. Now, anything bit. Nobody could ever provide proof of that for our students. Again, some of the stuff I'm leaving and holding back because I want to put to rest any of the like.
So much weight on top of me, and I knew all these other victims that were associated with my family were being.
There has to be a paper trail.
And it's not something you want to be good at. But
I'd like to
as a family.
I'd like to introduce you to Joe Petito. I think it might be helpful just in terms of
advice from somebody who's been there for.
Yeah,
we're not.
Be pleased to do that. Shannon, we'll speak after the program, and I will connect all of you together. I do want to ask you, Steve, about some of the information in the affidavit. It seemed as though the police had their eyes on this suspect within 2 weeks of the crimes being committed, and yet for 4 more weeks, he was
right there.
as though the police had their eyes on this suspect within 2 weeks of the crimes being committed. And yet for 4 more weeks, he was in Moscow, he was in Pullman, he was crossing the country. And I wanted to get your thoughts just on the notion that there were so many other people, classmates, neighbors, both in Washington and in Pennsylvania, who may have been at risk because they were so close to him before he was actually brought in cuffs. What were your thoughts about that?
I think we all kind of shared that as a community, that there was a risk of somebody being out there. And I took that very personal, because I had so much weight on top of me, and I knew all these other victims that were associated with my family were being hurt with just overall media and coverage. But these guys, there's no perfect way to do this. And these officers they just did an amazing job. And I was hard on them, and I'll come out and say that I owe them all the gratitude in the world, and I've always supported the police. But it's the school of thought that I come from. Like, everybody can do their best, and they need to come to the every day trying to be the best person that they can possibly be. So I won't back off of that, but these guys did an amazing job. They need more credit than they had. I mean, people think Idaho is so old-fashioned and out back, but these guys, they hit a home run, man. That affidavit is impressive, and I'm glad to be wrong. I wanted to be wrong, and I told them to their face. I looked them in their eyes and said, prove me wrong, and all is forgiven. And here we are, and all is forgiven. And I was
close with Maddie as well. This is a tremendous amount of burden to try to process for them.
Yeah,
Maddie was very kind and had been a sister to them for so long that it was just, we took for granted that she was there and that she would always be there. And, it's school of thought that I come from. Like, everybody can do their best, and they need to come to the every day trying to be the best person that they can possibly be. So I won't back off of that, but these guys did an amazing job. They need more credit than they had. I mean, people think Idaho is so old-fashioned and out back, but these guys, they hit a home run, man. That affidavit is impressive, and I'm glad to be wrong. I wanted to be wrong. And I told them to their face. I looked them in their eyes and said, prove me wrong. And all is forgiven. And here we are, and all is forgiven. And I'll say that on camera, and I'll tell everybody, you know, I was concerned, but I was wrong. They were right. And I'm okay with that. I have my person now. We have our person of interest, our defendant, and we will go after him, and he better be ready.
I can't thank you enough for spending the time with us tonight,
All
Stephen,
right, guys,
Christy,
we'll
and
see you
Shannon
back
as
here
well, especially on a
through the
day like you've been through
transparency.
today. And I send you
Real.
love and strength
Thank you
as
so
you
much.
embark on this journey.
Thank you.
Okay.